Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. So I got a question about dropping out of high school. And I thought this would be an interesting question to answer because a lot of you are probably wondering what my opinion would be on this and if I'm going to say yes, you should drop out of high school or not, because I've told some people, I may have told some people that have asked me about dropping out of college that, yeah, I think it's a great idea, drop out of college. In fact, you can check out my playlist on college, and probably I think there's some videos in there definitely on should I drop out of college or not, or telling your parents that you'd like to drop out of college. You could check out those. Definitely also remember that you have to click that I to see the cards, and all the videos I reference are always in the links below as well. YouTube got rid of annotations. Good or bad, that's what it is. So that's how you get access to everything that I talk to in any one of my videos. Subscribe also. All right, so I got this question, and I'm not going to read the name. He says, ever since I was in the 5th grade, I've always found myself doing something other than schoolwork. I found schoolwork to be very dull and boring. When I was about 12, I began to get into computers, but this just seemed to add to the distractions from schoolwork. It seems to get harder and harder to do stuff like programming projects when I'm stuck in school all day. I've had various thoughts of dropping out to do more programming and look for freelancing opportunities. The only problem I've had with dropping out of that is the idea that some employer looking at my resume and only seeing me as some kid who dropped out of high school. So I'm no fan of traditional education. It's no secret, right? I did the video on homeschooling, which you can check out here, and I'll probably do a follow-up one to talk a little bit more on my ideas on that. I don't like gatekeepers. I don't like systems. I don't like things that are not based, that aren't practical and pragmatic, right? I mean, most of the advice I give on this channel is practical and pragmatic. I'm not going to get into a whole discussion on traditional education here, but I just wanted to give you that background so you know where I'm coming from if you haven't watched these videos before. But, I'm going to say but here. While I think that a software developer has a really good shot at having a very successful career without college, I've done it myself, and then I did get my degree as well, so I've been on both sides of it, and I know tons of developers who do not have degrees, who do perfectly fine. I know developers who have degrees. Not having a high school diploma is highly detrimental. Highly detrimental. Don't get me wrong. I think there's almost no value in high school diploma. Okay? What I mean by that is that I think what you learn in most of high school is not valuable at all. Now, there's some things, right? I mean, you got to know basic mathematics. You got to know how to read, right? There's some basic stuff that I think is critical that does get taught in schools and that needs to be taught to kids, right? I think they need to know those things, but I think in general that a high school diploma and the time that most kids, most teens, most young adults spend in high school is a waste, okay? At least in traditional education systems. But it is important, right? For a couple of reasons. One, just think about this, right? Do not drop out. I know, like, it seems really smart. I mean, everything seems great. It's like, oh yeah, I'll spend more time programming. I'll get some freelancing jobs. I'm wasting my time here. Totally agree with you. But it's just going to limit your opportunities so much. I mean, it's going to limit you to fast food service, and maybe not even that, because sometimes that's competitive right now. Like, not having the high school diploma is just so limiting to any choice. I mean, what if you don't want to be a software developer anymore? What if you want to go into some other career field? What if you do want to go to college? What if you want to become a doctor or a lawyer? Okay? Now, you're going to need to go to college and stuff to do that, but you got to have a high school diploma to do that, right? So I would say that possibly an alternative would be to get your GED, General Equivalency Diploma. I still am kind of on the fence on that one. I mean, if you really wanted to go that route, then do that. But so at least you've got that underway, and I suppose that could be a reasonable solution to your problem. But I'm hesitant to even offer that in this case because I feel like you've got to complete that. Like, this is a very base level of completion, and you know, if you're struggling with school, it'd be one. Okay, if you said, hey John, look, here's the thing. I'm getting A's in all my classes and stuff, and doing my in my high school. I'm not really struggling with my schoolwork or studying. I'm a pretty dedicated person, but I really love programming, and it's taking up my time. I just want to get through with this shit and be done with it and move on with my life. Then I'd be more like, oh yeah, well, you know what, maybe cut off, where are you at right now? Like maybe can you reduce it and get your GED instead, or do some kind of private tutoring, or enroll in some advanced program and just get the high school done as soon as possible so you can move on. But when you're telling me that you're struggling, when you're telling me that you're having trouble applying, like doing what you need to get done, then you need to do this the more so, right? Because you don't want to set up a pattern of failure in your life and not completing things. I did this blog post a while ago on becoming a finisher and how important it is to become a finisher. And I believe this firmly for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is because when you get in that finishing mindset, because basically when you get in that finishing mindset, it changes your life. It changed my life. If you build a bridge 90% of the way, it counts for nothing. It doesn't get you across the lake or the river. I don't know why you build a bridge. I guess a lake, but mostly a river, right? It doesn't get you across. It doesn't get you from one side to the other. It has to be 100%. And so many things in life are like that. And so if you're going to give up on stuff because it's hard or because you just don't feel like doing it anymore, that's not a good reason. Like, you got to apply yourself and be able to. This is an important skill. You got to have this grit. You got to be able to be a finisher in life. So finish high school. Don't drop out. That's a wrong reason. I'm not saying there's not a reason to drop out of high school, but this is not the reason. It's not so that you can pursue this other thing. Grind this out. Get it done. It's not a huge deal. And then you can. I mean, if you don't want to go to college and you just want to pursue programming 100% of the time, go for it. I'm totally in support of that, but don't make short-term decisions that are going to jeopardize the rest of your life, because this is one of those decisions, right? It's really critical. And like I said, based on the fact that it's difficult for you, that you're having trouble applying yourself, is the wrong reason to do this. I gave you the scenario of what I think could be the right reason, and even then I'd say, like, hey, you better at least be getting your GED, and if you still want to make this decision, at least get your GED, I would say, again. But the other thing about being a finisher too is, I'll say this, is that it's about lying to yourself and trusting yourself, okay? If you say you're going to do something, if you're committed to do something, and you fail to do that, if you cannot become a finisher, if you cannot make it through things, you're not going to trust yourself in the future, and you're going to be more, it creates this chain reaction, right? You got to be able to make promises to yourself and believe. When I say I'm running 10 miles, guess how many miles I'm running, whether I feel like it or not. I'm running fucking 10 miles. The only thing that's going to stop me is if I physically am unable to do that. That's the only times I've ever, and even then I'm trying to power through the pain, which is maybe not a good idea, right? If I say I'm going to finish something or do something or record 2 videos a day, how many videos a day do I record? I do 2. I do 2 of them, right? So I've developed that ability because I believe and trust in myself. And you don't sound like a person that has a lot of confidence and trust in yourself right now. So get this done. Make this be something that you're like, man, turn it around. At this point, like, say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to finish it and I'm going to do it well. I'm going to do a great job on this, all right? And at that level, if you're applying the 9 or above, if you're applying yourself, if you're really going for it, that's when, just in general, guys, this is when you can make decisions to quit shit. When you have put in your 100%, when you're going full steam, and it's not because you're lazy, it's not because you're procrastinating, it's because you know that this is not the right path for you, but you've given it your all. Not because you're failing, right? When you're failing and you quit, that's a bad reason. That means you're not giving it your all. That means you're tired of this shit, you're not motivated, whatever. That's not a good reason to quit. The good reason to quit is because you're giving it your all, you're having success, yet you're saying, this is not the right path for me. That's the better reason to quit. Now, I know that I'm laying a pretty general blanket statement there, so it might not apply in all situations, but in general, I would just say that that's true. So my advice, even though I'm happy to tell you to drop out of college, I'm happy to tell you to not go to college, and even though I'm against traditional education, and I think public school system sucks, and the way we're educating people to be generalists today instead of specialists, and the way that we're controlling and authoritarian in our schools and making people into cogs to fit the machinery of corporate life, even though I think I'm against all of that. And I think that for the most part, a high school diploma is worthless. It doesn't prove or represent much of anything at all. I think it's a huge detriment to not have one, at least now in society. And I think not finishing something when you're struggling with it like this is a bad precedent to start your adult life. So this is what I'd like to see you do. Get that degree, finish it. And turn around, make it so that your teachers and your counselor and your parents are like, what the fuck happened here? Oh my, what happened? Someone lit something under this dude's ass. And he is just like, right? And he attacks life. Because if you can do that, let me put it in the negative. If you can't do that here, don't expect you're going to do that in your programming job. Even though you feel like you're passionate about it and you love that, you got to be able to, the more important skill in life is not to be able to freaking do the stuff you love. Anyone can do the stuff they love. And eventually the passion will fade, it'll wear out, you'll hate it, okay? And that's where the rubber meets the road. The rubber meets the road. The real skill, the real ability is to be able to do shit you don't want to do, but you do it anyway, and you still give it the 9 or 10 effort. That is the real skill. So show me that. Show me you got that shit, and then you're going to be more successful, because then when you go into programming and someday you're going to be like, fuck, I'm tired of this shit. I don't want to do this anymore, but you do it anyway, and you push through all the hard parts, and then you're going to come out victorious. All right, that's all I got for you today. Don't drop out of high school, but do click the subscribe button and click the bell if you want to make sure you don't miss any videos. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.